So on this video, I'm going to talk mainly about ornamental grasses. Now, ornamental grasses, you know, ornamental grasses are my favourites, and I have a lot of ornamental grasses up at Grassy Bottom. So up at Grassy Bottom, not all of them are in the garden, some are in pots. I've simply got too many to put in the garden if I want to include other plants. So we'll go through a few of them, a few of my favourites, and I'll try and explain as much as I can without being too technical about some of the grasses. And we might include one or two perennials as we go around. So we'll start with this one, and this one is Eragrostis Kyrgyz Totnes burgundy, a chance seedling found on a nursery down on the south coast. A beautiful grass, really, but not one you'd want to put into your garden because it will seed around everywhere. I don't see that as a problem. Most people do, I don't. I simply keep an eye on it, or I take the seed heads off before they get a chance to set the seed. Now this has a lovely burgundy colour in its leaf as the sun is picking out today. Quite nice. This is early morning up at Grassy Bottom, so there's not a lot of traffic around, which is good. And we get a chance to show you scenes like this. Ah, it's not going in focus now. Let's get back in focus. There you go. You can pick that up. That's a burgundy colour if the seed heads didn't keep getting in the way. So they're the seed heads, so we might as well show you them while they're deciding they want to come in and out of focus. There you go. There's the seed heads. Now they will spread around. I keep these in pots. I've got two of them, you can see. The first one here, close to us, and then the second one further along in the other chimney pot. And they're simply kept into plant pots and dropped into those chimney pots. I don't fill the chimney pot up with rubble and then put loads of soil in. Just get the right sized plant pot to sit in the top and push that in, and that's enough. So that's a nice small grass. Never grow any bigger than what you're viewing at the moment, which is about 1.5 to 2 foot in circumference. And it does drop down quite a lot. So beware that the leaf will spread if you've got it in the garden. But up on these pots, I'm hoping for it to touch the ground at some point. Don't think it'll make it this year now, to be honest, because we're a bit late. So I'm just going to turn around while we're here because there's a Miscanthus here that's shining really nice, or looking really nice in the sunlight. Another reason for getting this particular grass. Now, Miscanthus, there are loads of different types of Miscanthus. We go from a 1 foot one right up to one that I've got, which should make 25 foot. This particular one is a Miscanthus called Poseidon. It has these lovely pinkish tinged seed heads. And they do look good, you've got to admit, they look good. And they're satin perennials, so they always look good, satin perennials. And it's late season. What are we now? We're late September now, so these are looking really good. It is Miscanthus season, and a lot of them are now starting to show seed heads. Now, I will call them flowers, so for the purpose of this video, you may notice from time to time I call them flowers, but I mean seed heads. I can't show you every single Miscanthus I've got because I've got quite a number, and I've got quite a number in the garden, but I will show you one or two interesting ones. So stick with it, don't go away. And don't skip. For the purpose of this video, if I get time, I will put some little anchor points in the video so you can skip to the appropriate plant that you want to look at. Now this will make 7 foot once it's in flower itself, and the leaf will be about 4, maybe 5 foot. You can't really make that out on here, but that's what it is. So it's a really, really nice old variety, this one. So there's the seed head close up, and it is really nice, and it looks good from any direction in the garden. And they're blowing the wind, quite windy today. Now last night we had so much rain come down, I couldn't believe it. Never stopped all night. This morning it's quite cold. It's the coldest I've known it. Anyway, we're not here to talk about how cold it is at Grassy Bottom, but it is cold. Okay, so here's another grass that I do mention quite a lot. In fact, let's get you to the better one of the two. This one here, this is Chionachloa rubra. Now that is about 5.5 foot tall to the tallest leaf, and about 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4, probably 4 foot in circumference. It matures at about 5 years, is a beauty, I have several of these around the garden, and they're evergreen. I say they're evergreen. They're every colour really. There's all sorts of colours in this. There's greens, oranges, browns, and anywhere in between. They set seeds, little seed heads. You can see them there. Look at them. Waste of time. Don't ever think you're going to find a seed. Having said that, I could be wrong for your garden, but up here in Lincolnshire, I never find a seed. The best way to deal with this one, if you want more of them, is to split them. And I would split them probably late spring, not before. Now, it is evergreen, so it's always going to be looking like that. And it really does look good in this garden. And you can see it sets that whole border off, and people are always commenting on this one. And I do give it a lot of airtime, I know I do, but that's deliberate. There's another one here, not far from it. That was the original plant I put in, but the other plant I've just showed you was also in a pot. And they're all from the original plant I bought many, many, many years ago. Too many to mention. So that's Chionachloa rubra, a lovely New Zealand grass. I'll take you over to this one next, and again, I mention this all the time. I mention it all the time because it's a beauty, an absolute beauty. And this one is cortaderia, and cortaderias are pampas grasses. Now, pampas grasses people fear because they're used to seeing the huge, great ones that we have in England, but don't fear them. This is a really beautiful pampas grass, and it's known as the most elegant pampas grass, commonly called the New Zealand Toto grass. But this one is cortaderia richardii, a nice one. Now, you'd think because it's got so many seeds, or seed heads, that would be a problem. Believe me, it's not. I think I've only ever found one, maybe two seedlings in the past, no more than that. Now, what you will notice if you do get one of these and it's at this phase, just wait till about July, maybe August, when it starts dispersing its seeds off of those heads, and watch the birds. The birds come flocking in and mop up all of those seeds. And this is why you won't find seeds of ornamental grasses as you would think you would. So because it is evergreen, I do remove the dead leaves from the bottom, and then the actual flowers, or the seed heads, call it what you will, I clip them out individually. I never ever take a edge trimmer to this. Put your gloves on because you are going to cut yourself. And I go in individually with a pair of secateurs and I clip off every single seed head. It takes a while, but it can be quite addictive. So I quite enjoy doing that. So just remove them and then it makes it look better. Now, if you're an idle gardener, and there are a few out there, then you can leave them alone. Just leave them alone, and then the new ones will come up and through, and you'll get a mix of both old and new. But over time, the older ones will shatter and drop to bits. So I would remove them. Now, this is a particular favourite in the blue spectrum, and this one's Leymus arenarious, a sand dune binder. You will find it on the coast in a slightly different form, but basically this. And I won't let this one go in the garden because of the fact that it does bind sand dunes. And I've got it in a 40-gallon oil drum. Probably can't see that. Let's move you closer to it. Yeah, you probably still can't see that. Just bear with me and we'll show you it. Here we go. Right, so it's in that drum and that contains it. Now, every year I will get my spade in there and I will chop some of that out, pull it out, pot it back up, and then sell it on. That's what I do. But it is a truly beautiful bluegrass. And there's not a lot else I can say about that. It doesn't seed around. I've never found, in fact, I've never ever found a seedling of that, ever. Even though it does produce lots of seeds, as you can see from here. But I don't find them. Maybe next year I will, but I haven't up to now. Now, the other good one that I like in the blue spectrum is those down there. Now, they're called Elymus maggelanicus, a very small form, but this one won't run. This is a clump former. Prefers a hot, sunny location. If you give it a shady location, it just won't do anything. It'll be absolutely rubbish. So just listen to me when I tell you it needs sun. Now it's in shade at the minute, but that doesn't last all day. And especially in summer, we'd already have the sun on this section. But for the moment, it's in shade behind this post. But it does need a sunny location. Now, one thing, while I'm on here, one thing that really does get my goat is when people put grasses into shady areas that need sun. I see it so many times. I recently came across Stipa gigantea on the corner of a border, and it looked like it might have been fine at the time, but what's happened is the plants have overgrown it and the owner never did anything about it. So it crowded it out and it's virtually dead now. It's not producing anything. And what I did do was I lifted it for them and split it into several little plants, which will take an age now to get going again. But just bear that in mind. Make sure that when you do buy a grass, you look at the location it requires. Some grasses can take shade, and we'll show you one or two of those, but these can't. They do not like shade. This is another Miscanthus, Miscanthus Cheujensis, and it's called Golden Fleece. And I always thought it was because I knew it was a striped one, a zebra grass, and I always assumed it was for that. I always thought, well, it's obviously because of the striping. It turns out it's the seed head that's golden. A lovely golden shade, actually. And it quite surprised me at the time. Bit slow. It's been a bit slow for me. This is its third year in, and it's only that size at the moment. I'm hoping to move it at some point. It's really not in the right location now because we've got these trees casting shadow at the time that it begins its showiness, which is its seeds. So we will have to look at that, and we will have to do something about it. This is Arundo donax, one called macrophylla, and it's a giant reed. Not strictly a grass, I guess, but it is truly a grass. But people won't view that as a grass, but it is. So I like having this one in because I've got it in a drier area now. It would prefer a more damp area. If you put it into a damp area, it will run amok. Make no bones about that, it will. But here, it's on the side of one of my borders that's slightly sloped, so it never really has a lot of moisture to its feet, so it holds it back. But having said that, it still does spread slightly every year, and every year I dig it out. I dig parts of it out. Now let's show you part of my hand against it, if I can get the camera in. So you can see from this, the size of this leaf is massive. That's the macrophylla bit, means large, or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But there you go. And when it's windy like it is today, it looks beautiful blowing around. And the cortaderia behind it, isn't that just a pretty picture? I know I'm a bit biased because I like my grasses, but the cortaderia behind it looks good as well. And I do these sort of pairings. If I've got big grasses, I tend to put them not close together, but with a bit of a gap, just to show them off, the two different grasses. So we'll wander around. We're in the gravel area at the moment, and there's lots of autumnal things happening at the moment in this area. And I'm not going to show you that on this camera. I'm going to wait a bit longer and see if we can get some nice shots of some of the autumn colours that come in. But what we'll do, and we showed you this on the last video, is we'll show you this Parrotia, because the next time I video, these won't be on there. They'll have gone, they'll have dropped. But look at that colour, that's just stunning. And then just over there, that's an Acer, aconitifolium. And again, that'll probably have half of its leaves left, not many. Let's show you. Look at them colours, they're just amazing. I just love them. All different shades in there at the minute. Now this one has gone into an autumn colour quite early. It's been in it for the last 2 months. And that's because of the dry summer that we've had. Well, the dry year that we've had. But that'll be gone. Well, half of the leaves will have dropped by the time I come back. Now I'm going to drop you down to this one. I don't often show you this one. And that one's a Panicum. Now we don't know which Panicum it is. We haven't got a clue which one it is. I got this from a friend who thought she found it as a seedling. She's now telling me she thinks she might have bought it. And I thought it was a little bit too good to be true, that it was a seedling found in her garden. But we'll live with the fact that we actually have it, and it's a nice one. and it has these red diffused leaves and seed heads. You can see the seed heads. It will seed around. Not too bad. Never found any yet. Hope to find some in the future, but I haven't yet. So it has a nice colour combination of the green and the diffused. Is that red? It's not really red, is it? That's more of a burgundy colour going into that, but it's a beauty. A clump former, not very high. It gets higher than that actually. It gets to about 3 to 4 foot. It's had a bad summer and it would have preferred a little bit more moisture at the beginning, but it didn't get it. And then here, this is Stipa gigantea. Now it's not flowered yet. It's been in there a year and a half, not flowered. Will make quite a sizable clump, and then it will be one of the very first grasses to actually set seed. Now this is one that you really do need to get into the sun. This won't be a problem, although you can see that there's shade on it at the moment. This does get into sun for most of the day in the spring and summer, so that's when it'll be flowering. But please don't put them in shade, because they won't like it and they will die away very quickly. Now every few years you need to lift it and you need to pull it apart, put a bit of the grass back into its original location, and then pot up, give away or sell the rest of them. Now there are other varieties of Stipa, and this being one of them. This is one called Stipa gigantea, can you believe, but pixie. So it's a really almost dwarfing form of it. It won't get very big at all. New in this year, so it's not flowering at all at the moment. So we won't waste too much time on that. We've got better ones to show you. But there are smaller forms. That's what I wanted to really tell you. This is the telegraph pole pergola walk, and we have grasses all around this, which I will show you now. Now, one of my favourites of the grasses, and I show this quite a lot, is this little baby here. It's a beauty. Look at the colour on that. The leaves have already gone into early autumn as far as I'm concerned up here. Down south they probably started that a month ago, but up here they've only just started going into it. And the seed heads are just absolutely amazing on this one. When the sun catches them right, they have that lovely silvery sheen that you're picking up now. There you go. So it's looking really nice, and it is a true beauty, this one. Pink mainly as it comes up. Can we show you? Yep, there you go, look, pink. Now I've mentioned this in other videos where they actually bind themselves together sometimes as a seed head, and because I'm a sad geeky type of grass grower, I tend to separate these because I don't like them to be stuck together, because they don't show to the best. Anyway, so they have a pink tinge, a silvery tinge when the sun hits them, and then what happens is they go into this candy floss look. This one here, that there is like a candy floss, a white candy floss in this case. Sometimes it's a pink candy floss, but in this case it's a white candy floss, and that is when they're blowing. The seeds are actually being pollinated, and don't forget it's wind pollinated. You will find Miscanthus around, not very many. Our seasons are simply too short for lots of them to appear, so you only get a few. So don't let it worry you. Don't be worried that they're going to seed around. Enjoy the beauty of the plant. Too many people worry about plants getting out of hand. They only get out of hand if you let them get out of hand, and a lot of you do. Be honest with yourselves. But that one is definitely worth getting, and I'd class that as a medium size. That gets up to, it's not as big as it is usually, but it gets up to about 7 foot in seed, and it's got that spread of 2 foot now. Been in there 3 years, and I want it to be even bigger, because once it gets bigger, remember, it's taking up space, but it's taking up space that you would have to plant other plants into. So to have one plant doing that's brilliant. You don't need to mess about. Let's show you the base. So it's quite wide at the base, 2 foot, maybe 2.5. And it takes up all that room on its own, so I don't need to worry too much about putting any more plants around it. I do put plants around it, but don't overcrowd them. Have lower growing plants, as is the case here. I've got some lower growing plants, and if they get out of hand, you can simply remove them in favour of Miscanthus. Now this is a Millennia. Millennias are brilliant in anybody's garden. If you're getting into grasses, get yourself one Millennia at least. Now there's 2 types of Millennia. There's Arundo and Acer, and there's curvula. In fact, there's probably more, but we're going to talk about those 2. Now this is one called Millennia Caerulea arundinacea. So if it has the name arundinacea attached, it means it's a bigger, taller grass. If it only has the name Millennia Caerulea, it means it's a smaller grass. And both are equally beautiful. The smaller ones being easier if you don't want to have them blowing over. I don't mind. And the smaller ones do have some lovely colours, but so do these big ones. These have a butter yellow to finish with. Now this year, this is only 4 foot in seed head. Now normally, you won't believe this, but normally it goes up to that top of that post you're looking at now on the right there. Or not on the right, the one, that one. It goes right to the top of that. But this year, not a chance, because there hasn't been enough moisture in the summer to get it there. And it just simply hasn't caught back up. Next year, be a different story. It hopefully will be looking good. But what happens with it is it will turn to a butter yellow as we get closer to November, I do believe. And then you'll come out one day and the whole thing will have collapsed. And you simply pick it up, tidy it away. And then the little stubs will already be showing at the base. This is a clumper. All the grasses I've been showing you, all except the blue one, the big blue one, have all been clumpers. Don't worry, they don't spread everywhere. The only chance of them doing it is by seed. Now this will seed around, and I look for interesting seedlings. And I did find one last year that I considered to be quite interesting. I've now potted that one up and we're hanging on to it. We're not going to sell it because we're going to see what happens with it. So this one is nowhere near ready yet. It's not there yet. We've got more time on this one. It takes a bit longer to do what it needs to do. And this one is a Panicum. Now, I do often have the label with this one. Ah, there is. I have to put the name up, don't I, all the time. Ah, there isn't. No, that was not the label. I'm sure I had the label here. Oh, well. Right, so it's a Panicum. A very tall, upright one called North Wind. And it will make 4, maybe 5 foot in the leaf, and then the seed heads, which you can see developing now. Can you see that? That one there. Let's stop it blowing. That's a seed head. And then that goes above it and in it. Not too much above it, but it looks really nice. It does well in restricted spaces, and it's in semi-shade here, but it can take a little bit more shade, but obviously prefers a little bit more sun and a little bit of moisture to its feet. But don't worry too much about the moisture. You can simply correct that by just giving it the odd couple of gallons of water throughout the year. There's another Miscanthus there. That's a lovely little Miscanthus. Very, very slow. And that one's called Samurai. Has a nice leaf colour, as you can see. I'm not going to go over to it, but you can make out there's red leaves at the base. And then this one here, which is a rather special one. Can you see that? No, you can't. I'll take you over to it. This one's called Cheujensis, and it has a more yellow seed head, which is very, very nice and very different to the normal ones. There's 1 or 2 have yellow seed heads, but this has a nice yellow seed head and a very small grass clump, which is congested, which is what I like about it. So the leaves are going in all directions, as you can see. But that's a good one to get hold of, if you can find it. That was found by a modern day plant hunter. If you look up Krieg Farm plants in Wales, they're the ones that discovered that. They may have it, they may not. Who knows? I know last time somebody contacted me, they said that they didn't actually have it. If you contact me and you're looking for it, I can sell you one. I'd have to charge you for postage as well, but I'd be quite happy to do that. That's my little sales bit over. Right, this would be a good one for amateurs to get hold of, because not only does it have quite a nice seed head, which has already gone through, they're more red than you're seeing now. They've gone over that phase. And when it is red, this whole seed head is red, and then it has these white tips, which are really nice. Now that one is called Ferner Austin, and it means far east, and it's a really nice, smaller, compact one. Gets to about 4 foot normally, not much more than that, but it's quite a nice Miscanthus if you're quite new to it, because you don't have to try to add is the word I'm looking for, or the sentence I'm looking for. And it produces lovely coloured autumnal leaves, and I've got it next to this Solidago, and it's looking good against that now. That's a nice Solidago, that. Mentioned that on the last video. Solidago, rugosa, and one called Lloydstead Crown. Smaller this year, but it nevertheless looks good. So this spiky grass here, let's get my shadow out of the way. This spiky grass, this is supposedly a Calamagrostis. Now this was found, or was given to Pan Global Plants as Calamagrostis Kyrgyz giant. And I look at it, and the more I look at it, I seem to think that that is probably more of a steeper than a Calamagrostis, but nobody's yet fully identified it. So for the moment, we're going to continue to call it Calamagrostis Kyrgyz giant. I love the name Kyrgyz giant. It comes from Kyrgyzstan. It grows up on mountains, but in the sort of rocky dips of those mountains, and it can take -50 in them areas. So it's not going to struggle in the UK. Not going to struggle at all. And I like it. And it produces tall seed heads, which I've now removed. And I've seen this in pictures, and if you can mass plant this one, it looks great. Absolutely great. Because they are short in stature, they do look good. So lovely. Now this is next to Kyrgyz giant, and this one's called Andropogon Grassy, and it's one called, or a variety called, Weinheim burgundy. And you can see why it's called Weinheim burgundy. Now it's just starting to produce its seed heads. This is commonly called turkey foot or big turkey foot, and is a lovely grass. But this year is not looking great. Not looking great. And again, it's back to the fact that we haven't had a very good spring summer, which gives it that initial kick it needs. Hopefully the seed heads will carry on and rise above it, and next year could be a different story. But it is definitely worth getting. And I really like having that one. I've got 2 different varieties now. Let's put its label back. So I sneakily got the label out of that one so you didn't see me. So, because I forgot what it was called. I'm getting to that age now where I forget things. Now, there's another one here, and this is in more shade, as you can see. That's the same plant, but different variety. And you can see now it's producing a lovely seed head that will go at least to 5, if not 6 feet, quite upright, and holds well. If I'm honest, it does hold well. And what's this one called? Let's show you. There you go. So it's called Andropogon Black Hawks. Don't ask me why. Oh, I'm starting to think it could be the leaf. It's looking darker plummy colour than it is light. So maybe that's the reason. Oh, and then the sun, look, it's shining on that at the minute. Oh, it's looking good. This is, as I said earlier, Chionachloa rubra. Fantastic. Definitely worth having in your borders. Definitely. You must get it. Now this one is the very first plant I planted up at Grassy Bottom. And of course it had to be a grass. And this is a Miscanthus called Jubilaris. Now it's not had the best year this year because again, not wet enough. And generally it has variegated leaves, and each leaf is a different type of variegation. Each one has a different variegation. Some could be broad, some could be thin. But all of them have a variegation, as you can see. Now, if you've got this in a good year and you start seeing green leaves appearing with the variegated ones, you must remove those because they can cause the whole plant to go green. So just remove them, and I mean just clip them, cut them off. The good thing about these ones is it has these very nice stems, so red. And sadly, I take off all the sheaves of those. These here, this being the sheath. Where are we? There we go. So that's a sheath, so I would just simply pull that off like that and get rid of it. Typically that didn't want to come away, but I'd just get rid of it, throw it on the floor, do what you will with it, put it in your compost heap, chop it up. This one makes 7 foot every year, almost guaranteed. Very nice to have in a border. If you've got a border or a jungly garden would look good. Put that in your jungle garden. And hopefully you won't find a tiger in there, which I often do with Elymus. She's often skulking about. But it's a good one to have. So if you want a nice Miscanthus that's a big clump former, that would be a good choice. Let's take you to another good choice for that particular one. Right, it's very similar. Not the same, but very similar. A clump former, gets to about the same height eventually. And it's this one here, and it's called Miscanthus Cosmopolitan. And it produces a quite tall pink seed head. Now, I can almost guarantee that this one will produce flowers every single year. And it has done for me ever since I've had it. That's a lovely one. I pride myself on that particular one because that come from Great Dixter, a garden that I highly rate. So I feel proud that that came from Great Dixter itself. Any problems with these types? Not really. Don't really have any problems except if it doesn't get enough water. And you can just leave it alone. When do we chop them? Let's tell you now in case I forget at the end. Do we chop them? Well, particularly Miscanthuses, we tend to chop those in maybe late spring, and usually when we see new growth at the bottom, we will go in then and chop just above that new growth or into the new growth. If it's a bit later, it won't really matter, it'll catch up, and we chop them right down. So if you catch it early enough, straight down to the ground, and then you'll not have any problems with it. This one is behind it, directly behind it, and I'm so disappointed with this year because normally it would be at least 5 foot taller than that. And it's not this year because it didn't get enough early rain. So this one is a Miscanthus and it's called Lutarioriparious, and it would normally go above the owl. Every year so far it's gone above that, but because we had such a dry start to the year, it's refused to do it. What a shame, but there you go. So next year, again, different year, let's hope for something better. Can't show you these now. This is why I filmed this quite early on. This is Pennisetum Macrourum, these pipe cleaner type seed heads. I've brought this one up many times on my videos. Great one to have. The designers love it. Clump former but slightly spreading, but will seed around. So prepare yourself for that. See if we can get you a shot of a good one. There you go, there's the seed head. So that's quite nice. Quite long as well. What are they? 6-7 inches long. And then they start dropping seeds, as you can see here, and I will find those around. So if you get this one, just be careful of that. So we'll take you back up through the Telegraph pole pergola. I love this, absolutely love it. We'll walk up here, because there's a couple of grasses here I don't want you to miss out on. One of them being this one here. This one's Aconitifolium macra. It has a beautiful orange autumn colour, which it's starting to take on now. And then it has little seed heads. This one will seed around, but I never find the seeds. It's typical, isn't it? The ones I want to seed around never do. This is one of those, I never find it. So it's best to split it. Don't split it to too small a section if you're not experienced, because you will end up losing it. But that's a lovely one. Eventually it will make 3 foot by 3 foot. And just a good clump former. I know I keep moving around, but I'm trying to get you good shots of it. And it is a beauty. And when the wind catches it, it has a lovely little movement. It can live on the edge of forests, because it is called the Japanese forest grass. Or you might just have a little wood, or you might have 2 or 3 trees, but we'll class them as a forest. There you go, look, there's the wind blowing. Beautiful movement. Grasses give you movement and sound, which is a good thing to have. So this is another Miscanthus. Probably only make 4 foot, 5 foot maximum. It has this colour almost from the first moment the leaves start appearing. And it's called Lady In Red. It's now starting to produce its typical seed head. But when that turns and when it blows into white, the contrast between the white and the red is amazing. And if you look that one up on the internet, you're bound to find a picture of the original plant. It was developed over time in Poland, and they're pretty Poland. That's a funny way to say it, Poland. So it was developed there, and they produced an absolute stunner. I've got it into a mixed border with the Hylotelephium, the sedum on the right, and then the Rudbeckia behind it, which is just ordinary Demii. And they look good, look great actually. Anything else in here? Not really in this section. I've got too many grasses to really show you in great detail. There's just too many. Maybe I should concentrate on 3 at a time, but you get bored of that. Now this one is another Miscanthus. These are condensatus types because they have big leaves. And this one's called Cabaret. Now Cabaret for me will not flower this far up in Lincolnshire, it just won't do it. Down south I see that they do flower, but not here, which is a bit disappointing. It has a lovely stripy leaf, as you can see there. Lovely, absolutely wonderful in my opinion. I like it, and it's not complicated, not a complicated grass, and just looks good. We've got another Millennia here. This one's a Piet Oudolf one, and it's now in full seed. Can we get a better shot? Typical, the sun's gone off this now, just when I wanted it to hit this one. So we're not seeing it in its true beauty. You can see some of it there. So you can see the seed heads. And this one's called Crystal Vale. It was found in Piet's own garden and was brought to the UK by a chap up in Halifax who's now closing his nursery, sadly, Dove Cottage. Sadly, he's closing it this year. I wish I could get up there and buy a load of plants off him, but I just don't have the time. But that is a beauty, so I was very pleased to come across that one, especially as I'd just been reading up on it the week before I went up there. Anyway, right, we're not going about that one anymore. Right, this one here, another Miscanthus. Now this, as I've said many, many times, is supposed to be one called Cascade. All the pictures I see of Cascade are more leaning and pinkish. I bought this from a very good source, but I'm still not 100% convinced that this is Cascade. I have bought another plant from another supplier who I trust, and I'm hoping that that one will be Cascade. But I don't know. I really don't know. So we'll leave that for now and not talk too much about it. But it should be okay. It's good anyway. It's a nice plant. Stop moving around. Let's get you back there again. Like, it's a good plant anyway. You can see it's nice. It's lovely. And from down the garden, that looks beautiful. And I like it. I like it a lot, but it should have been Cascade. Oh, can I see any of them cascading? No. So I'm not 100% convinced at the minute that's what it is. This one I've had for some years. And it's called Gilt Edge, so it's a Miscanthus again, called Gilt Edge. And you can see why it's called Gilt Edge. Very slow, this one. Never really grown very much. It's a bit more of a little spreader. And I say little spreader because it doesn't really spread a lot. Again, would look good in the middle of the border rather than at the front and rather than at the back, because it won't really make any impact. Here I've got it at the side of the boardwalk, so it looks okay. It's worth getting, but just beware of that one. It is a bit slow. Let's wander around. What else can I show you? Oh, while we're up here, we'll show you the one that Lee sent me. I did plant them in here in the end, but they're not going to stay in here. They're in the pots, believe it or not. They're still sat in pots. And this is the Caerulea type. And this one's called Millennia Caerulea Overdam. Lee assures me it goes into some good autumn colours. It's not going to happen this year because the leaves have already gone because of how I've planted them. Not his fault for saying that. It's my fault for the way I've planted them, but it'll be fine. Okay, this is a Calamagrostis, and this is called Avalanche. I've had it in this pot all year, and it's done really well this year for having kept it in this planter. It has a striped leaf, as you can see, and it has a arching habit in both leaf and originally in the seed head. It's not there now because it's straightened up. They do this. And then next to it, I've got another Aconitifolium. And this, I'll show you the label then, I don't have to bother putting it up on screen. Oh, hang on a minute. So there you go. That's Aconitifolium macra aureola. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It says full sun, partial shade. Does well in both. Absolutely cracking plant. And I have several varieties of that, or different ones, different Aconitifoliums, of which we probably won't show you. Now that is a cracking scene. That's, oh no, we've got a person in there now. We probably have to wait till they go. Maybe not, maybe we'll film them. They might see themselves on this video. This one here is called Calamagrostis Aconitifolium Carl Forster, an absolute beauty. I love it. My favourite by a million miles. Sterile, if you're just getting into grasses, a very sterile grass that you'll never ever have to worry about. I do believe it produces the odd seedling, but virtually 99.9% sterile, which is great if you're an amateur and you're scared of grasses. get that one. Gets up to 7-8 foot. Not done that this year, but that's again because of the year. But it's looking good at the moment. Let's just see if we can get away without too much sun flare down there. As you can see, there's loads of grasses down there, all blowing and looking good. Apart from the one on the right here, this one here, this is a bamboo. And that is actually a true grass. Can you believe where it is? So that's a nice scene down there. Lots of grasses going on. Autumn time is the best time to really appreciate grasses. But there's not many gardens open at that time of year. I'll go down the steps. Try not to break her neck. But there's the Calamagrostis again, looking beautiful. I just love it. At this time of year, it is a stunner. Absolute stunner. And even when it's gone into this phase, it still blows around a lot. It gets stiffer and stiffer as the year goes on. We will cut those in about January, should I say January? I'd say early February. I won't go with January because it could end up with lots of snow and ice. But you will see it'll be very early to grow and it will start showing new green growth towards the back end of January, depending on the type of year we're having. Now let's take you up to another Miscanthus Cabaret, because this, I always like to show this one, because just to prove to you that Miscanthus can do quite well in shade, and this gets shade a lot. There you go. So that's Miscanthus Cabaret, the one with the longitudinal stripes. And it's a beauty. Won't flower. I was hoping it would this year because it's looking promising, but I don't think it will flower. But again, look at those colours in there. And this one in the shade has done way better than the one that's in the sun, where you would think it would prefer. So maybe, based on what I'm telling you, part shade would be good for that. So that's another Miscanthus, another condensatus type. And here's some more aconitifoliums. I can't wait for these to get taller or bigger or more mature. Another 2 years, 3 years, and they should hopefully be 3 foot by 3 foot. And they look brilliant in this section with this silver birch. I've now taken out that grass that planted itself here, which I'm calling a mule grass because we're not sure whether it's two different grasses have created it. But we've moved it elsewhere in the garden so I can keep my eye on it. But this one is Girava Ichu. I've tied it up, admittedly, only because it got blown right over and the winds didn't do it any favour at all. But it's a beauty. It will seed around. You may find the odd seed, which this was. This was a seedling at the time, and I collected it and put it here. Well, I didn't. This is where it ended up. It ended up planted here. The original I took up because it wasn't doing so well, but it did produce this seedling. Now looking good. And there's a nice view of it. Looking absolutely stunning. The seed heads, what are they? God, they must be 2 foot long, each one of those seed heads. And then just over there, I planted more Calamagrostis Avalanche, and they're doing all right, actually, doing all right in there. So I'm quite pleased with them. They're on trial really there because it's more of a shady area, but I'm finding that they're doing okay in shady areas. So we'll wander back down here, back down Amish's favourite running track. Berries are doing well this year. I bet you've all got some nice berries. Doing ever so well on the sorbus this year. Brilliant. So here, I mentioned this on the previous video, this is Calamagrostis brachytricha, a shade lover as well as a sun lover. Does really well. Look at those seed heads, they are fantastic. I absolutely love this one. And I'm going to plant lots more of it. There will be seedlings around, it does seed around. But I don't find very many, not enough. Not enough by half. But a nice one to have. Calamagrostis brachytricha, a small clumper, gets to about, what would I say, 2.5 to 3 foot eventually as a mature specimen. Not very long lived, might make 5-6 years, but if you split them regular, you'll keep it going forever, and that's a fact. Now this is a bit of a sorry grass. This should be one of the best. It's called Miscanthus malapartis. Terrible. The worst grass I've ever planted up at Grassy Bottom is this one. Just doesn't want to go. I move it around to try and get it into a better location, but it's terrible. Just won't go for me. And I've got 2 different grasses in there now, so it should be doing okay, but no, alas. So let's not talk about that one. Okay, this is more of a Miscanthus border. And they're looking great in here. This is more of a medium-sized, older variety. If I can get my shadow out of the way, if I can show you it better. And it has lots and lots of seed heads. And it's, as I said, it's a very old form called Nishidak, and it's a beauty, really. Very nice. It reminds me kind of the Beth Chatto one, which I have as well, which has a lot more pinkish red flower heads, but it looks very similar. What else we got in here? Oh yes, we've got Little Zebra there. So if you're looking for a smaller zebra grass, that one's called Little Zebra. It produces some, I know I'm moving around a lot, I'm just trying to show you them all. There you go, there's the seed head, more pink, and it has lots of those, and I mean lots. Once it gets into a maturer plant, there will be loads of those. And I will have to make room for it at the back there because it will get taller. This is a good grass. I've had this one for years. I've had several from Knoll Gardens actually. And this is a Yakajima selection. And this one's called Cindy. They've called it Cindy. Quite a nice name for it, I guess. And it is a good grass, a really good grass. Again, try and get this one in the sun. I found it does the best in the sun. I've trialled it in other areas. Seems to do the best in full sun, whereas some can take a bit of shade. This one's not so keen on it. So a very nice little variety. If you're looking for something smaller, that would fit the bill. So we'll go to this big tall one. Now we have lots of big tall ones like this. And we're talking about the Miscanthus there. Miscanthus Cheujensis and one called Roland. Really nice. And it has a crimped seed head. You can't really make that out. You can kind of, but not very well. But it has a crimped seed head, which sets it aside from the others. So that's a beauty. Now, there are lots and lots of different Miscanthus, and I can't go through them all. But generally, your garden should have at least one Miscanthus. And be it small, medium or large, any Miscanthus in your garden is a bonus. Sets it off. So when you've all got gardens that are starting to go over, they're all going over, not doing very well, treat yourself to a Miscanthus because they're definitely worth having. And they keep the show going a little bit longer in your garden, in your perennial borders. People are so scared of grasses. Don't be scared of grasses. I love grasses. So try and get one Miscanthus. If you want a small one, try and get one called Yakajima. If you can, get Cindy from Knoll Gardens. And a medium-sized one, I would go with, let's show you the little baby one I've put in here. I'd go with the one called Memory, which is this one here. And as you can see, that is a stunner. And it always looks good and never lets me down every single year. I planted a smaller plant here, I split it a couple of years ago, and that's just a baby one with, how many's on it? Three seed heads, but they do blow really nicely. So they fluff up lovely. So that's your medium-sized one. Then large, what would I say for large? Because you could go for Miscanthus jubilaris, which isn't strictly large, I guess. I'm not really showing you how well I'm talking, am I? So it's not strictly large. A good choice would be this one, Miscanthus Cheujensis Roland, but you must be aware that it can flop a little bit. And it does, but it's one of the larger ones that will flower for you. There's another one called Grosser Fontaine, which is quite tall, but again, fountainous, it falls a little bit. So be wary. But I would recommend you to get this one because it is a nice one, a nice tall one. Or you could go for the one called Miscanthus Poseidon, which I showed you earlier on. Not as tall as this one, but nevertheless, I guess we could put it in the tall category. So one Miscanthus, treat yourself, go on. Now this one here, before we finish, we'll show you this one. This is called Elictotrichon sempervirens. A bit like a fescue on steroids, and it gets really spiky. It will get bigger, it'll get to 3 foot. It's still new in, so it's not very big at the moment. I had one up the other end of the garden that didn't live for longer than 5 years. That's about the lifespan. If you don't split them regular, it's definitely worth having. A nice blue one. a powdery blue at that. And the one behind there, I've always rated this one, but you need the space for this one. And it's a really nice grass, this one. I'm going to get you to a better angle before I tell you what it's called. No, it still looks rubbish. Anyway, that's Lamprophysis arenarious, and it's a beauty. It flowers twice in the year, can you believe? Very early on, and then again at this time it sends up fresh, new... I can hear geese. I can hear geese. Surely not. Surely not. Can we make those out? Where are they? Can you see them? Look at that. They're already off south for the winter. Actually, chaps, you're off the wrong way. You're off east. Anyway, we'll just pretend we never saw those or heard them. But anyway, Lamprophysis aronimi, clump former, makes 3 foot. Loves the sun. Not in such a great sunny area, deliberately to keep it a little bit smaller, so that I don't trip over it and break my neck. So there you go, grasses. I love grasses, you know I do. We'll end with this shot because this is always a nice shot, especially with the Calamagrostis next to it. So that's a good shot for us to finish on. Well, not so great, is it? I can't get a brilliant shot. Oh, hang on a minute, chaps. Let's go, and ladies. Let's go this side. So we'll end with this shot, and this is a great shot to end with because it has Calamagrostis Vallenbush and Calamagrostis Calforster in there. Great shot and a great plant to have. And remember, grasses are both for movement and sound, and they look great. Easy to keep, most of them. Not a problem at all, as long as you keep on top of them. If you're afraid of them seeding around, just keep your eye out for the seeds, and you should be okay. But definitely worth having in your garden. I know I've gone on about that, but I love them. Okay, so hopefully that's helped you out with some grasses that you should consider getting. And I'll talk to you on the next one. Ta-da!